to the past and try to take a look at the game one that just happened. We're going to go into game one between MorroW and MaNa again. Hit and play, going directly into it and moving my feet far to the left because apparently this caster's chair is caster's computer is made of cheese. Anytime I bump it, it will completely fall apart. So this is what happened last game. We had MaNa against MorroW. Now we're actually going to fast forward this just a little bit to get to the point where we were at in the last game. So we can do just a little bit of brief review. The game ended up crashing very, very early into the series. There was the pylon going down for MaNa at his ramp. He did end up throwing down a gateway. He had saved everything. And then something very unusual happened.
I wonder why he did that. Why did he cancel the gateway for the forge? I mean, usually players do that when they see the hatchery being put down, not after. I mean, it's kind of weird.
And that was something very, very unusual. So we did see that MorroW did go for the gas pool build. He wanted to get that Zergling speed very quickly, and then it looks like we are going to go back to the same state we were in the game in just a moment. Little bit of nibbling going on. There's MorroW with the Overlord spot and everything spawning pool, very close to being finished. And there was the double cannon rush going on, and this is where the game resumed. And here we are currently live with the game. We're no longer in the past, we're in the present, and MaNa, that totally, none of that actually happened. No, everything's fine. So, another exciting news. Yes, 2 cannons were canceled, and I'm really curious to see how MaNa is going to be able to play this off.
I actually thought he would have gone for maybe a pylon down on the natural and then gone for a cannon expo. That's like kind of a standard reaction a lot of players like to do. No, but he does wall himself into his base and gone for gas. And it looks like MorroW is going to be putting down the hatchery now on around 22. So that's kind of interesting. Double gas, actually.
Wow, MaNa getting the double gas can easily get that +1 upgrade, or could potentially go for some sort of very big 4 warp gate push, or both. Is MorroW really going to lose this cannon? Oh no, MorroW loses an Overlord to a cannon? That is a very embarrassing thing to have happen. MorroW probably feeling a little bit distracted after some mysterious pause that probably didn't actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, that actually throws a lot of people off their games. Playing in such a high-level tournament for a lot of prize money, trying to fight to get into the quarterfinals, and then having to deal with this issue. Obviously, MorroW a little bit wound up, adrenaline pumping from playing anyway, and then having to debate with another player in the admins for the game to continue. This pylon is going to go down now, but in this kind of the situation you don't want to be in. You want it to run smoothly and stuff, but it just doesn't work for him.
Yeah, and you know, this is a very smart response by MorroW, getting 2 Zerglings, and that's it against the cannon rush. So often players are freaked out by the fact that they could have died, that they make way, way too many extra Zerglings at the start. MorroW not overreacting, and interestingly enough, a Twilight Council going down. Ooh, probably going to be going for Blink, abusing this Wallen he has.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what he does do that. The hatchery has gone down, and I guess MorroW's just going to drone away now. I mean, he can go and look up the ramp. I guess the cannon is there, so it could deny any form of scouting. He doesn't really have any Overlords in place either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, there's really almost no way to mess up this transition from MorroW. Even if you made a good amount of units, just the fact that your opponent would be unable to expand freely. It's so hard to do any mistakes after your opponent does a very, very deeply failed cannon rush. So it does look like that Twilight Council's finished. Interestingly, not doing anything with it quite yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he does do with that. He should be doing something with it quite soon. And the DTs are coming. Dark Shrine has been put down. Wow, MaNa really wants to mess around in this game.
This is, okay, so just to describe what happened and convince you that this is like one of the top 10 players in Europe. Cannon rush into Dark Templar rush was the build choice of MaNa. Does sound a lot like a player who just purchased the game, but goofily enough, this ends up being a very effective way of playing against a Zerg after you've had a failed cannon rush, because he'll have plenty of drones, feel comfortable, but will have no detection.
Roach Warren and Leia in production now. Leia about halfway. Be interesting to see what he does. MorroW does like to go for Roach Hydra style. He loves that so much. And we all seen an Expo being put down now as well. Really interesting build by MaNa.
Wow.
But going back to MorroW, he is such a fan of Roach Hydra. Actually hates going for a Hive. He only goes for a Hive when he really thinks he needs it, and will try to kill you without going to Hive tech.
Yeah. And you know, oh gosh, with this layer finish, there's really very few options for MaNa in this game. I mean, honestly, I fully expect a pretty quick, simple counter push by MorroW, just something to shut down this expansion, because if you can just keep Protoss on one base for long enough, there's no way they can take another Expo. So there are some more DTs getting warped in right now. There's 3 DTs coming out right now for MaNa, advancing forward. It looks like, no, the Zergling didn't really end up seeing the DTs. He's going to march right by the Zergling, doesn't want to reveal anything or any overseers being made.
Yeah,
yes, there's
one is being made. I don't know where it is, though.
Oh, man, there's one overseer on the map somewhere. There it is, going down right now. These DTs could potentially do some huge, huge damage.
And look at the overseer. Actually goes in the other way, and he has no idea about this. And he has 2 DTs going, 3 going into the main.
Oh, no, and he's target firing the layer. Oh, my God, he's not going for any drones at all. He's taking the huge risk. He might be able to take this layer down. This layer is at 2/3 life. This is so goofy.
This
He's
is
going
such
in.
a crazy
Oh, my
game.
goodness, there's another overseer being warped, and there's the overseer that's behind the hatch. The main layer is going to fall to the Dark Templar rush. Oh, my goodness, MorroW, who fought to have this game not be replayed because of how clear an advantage he was in. Just lost his layer to a bunch of Dark Templar, and of course he will be nibbled to bits.
That's actually hilarious that went down. At first I was like, is that like a misclick? Did he not mean to do that? And then it goes down.
Yeah, he just said, this is exactly the way that I want this to be. Now, the one thing to note, though, that I don't think that was enough damage at all because MorroW is still at 85 food against the 56 food of his opponent. But if we go to that income tab, we do see that Protoss does have a little bit of an economic lead. MaNa doing a good job with that cannon placement. Does he have any plus-ups? No, not quite yet. Getting a robo facility, trying to exploit a little bit of the roachage from the opponent and continuing to be very, very nice and aggressive with these DTs.
And DT coming down again. He has a couple of overseers, one on the natural, I guess the other probably on the main. But hold that thought for 1 second. These roaches are going to come and take down this cannon. It could do a lot of damage here.
Uh-oh,
Okay,
getting
force
repelled.
fields, I suppose.
And one DT trying to do some kills on the drones. Decides that he's just going to go ahead and take that queen out. Oh, getting surrounded. Very nice play there by MorroW. And at the same time, advancing forward with them roaches.
+1 range upgrade for the Zerg units is being researched. Cutting a couple of roaches off, taking them down. Changeling is there as well. It's going to give him a lot of sight onto the army composition of the Protoss player.
Meanwhile, poking around back in the base of MorroW. MorroW finally retook his main and finally restarted his second layer of this game. Changeling doing a good job of scouting. Actually, the Changeling might even be in the control group with all these units, making it a little bit more obvious what's going on. Either way, MaNa is playing very defensively, now getting out that Immortal, getting more gateways, and is just going for a huge 2-base push.
Even though he lost the layer, it actually didn't change that much for MorroW because, I mean, he already had roaches out. He already had roach speed completed, and so he just continued to build roaches rather than going for any other tech structures. So it's actually not too bad for him to lose that. MaNa now coming down to try and take the gold position. And it looks like, as you're saying, he will be going for some 2-base strong push, wait for the +1 attack to be researched and finished, and then try to kill MorroW.
MaNa's actually playing surprisingly well given his failed opening. The adrenaline helping him out quite a bit, getting those additional pylons and the gateways, not getting supply blocked, getting the observatory up. But if we go over to the resource station and check MorroW's actually at around 1,000 minerals, and look at this, closing that food gap down to just 10, and the Changeling invasion is happening.
5 moving in. It's going to take a while for him to actually target fire all of them, so he's going to get a good amount of intel. 2 inside the base do go down, 3 here moving in.
And there, it looks like he will be taking them out. That was not nearly as effective as it could have been. There's the Robo Bay going down for that essential Colossus unit. We do see MorroW in the unit counting station has 18 roaches, and that is his entire force. 52 workers for Protoss. Very nice catch-up game.
Does he have a Hydroden at all in the main? No,
No.
just pure roaches, actually.
With the Spore Crawlers as well, clearly intimidated by how much damage those DTs did. And it looks like MaNa might get the chance to just build his gold completely unhindered.
Yeah, he's got to be careful though. If MorroW scouts this, and he has got something moving towards the gold base, and if he scouts this, he will want to move down there as soon as possible. But we are having Colossus out now. Thermal Lance being upgraded also, and they are going to do a lot of damage to these roaches, especially with the Sentry Force Fields.
There's yet another Changeling. One of them will work eventually. And it looks like, wow, that's a very intimidating force that MaNa has. And I don't really think that MorroW is going to be able to crack this. We do see some cannons going down. That'll get cut in half by force fields. Not trapping enough roaches, but at least getting 3 or 4.
Nexus has been put down on that gold. At the same time, MorroW is getting his 4th base in the gold and getting the Hydroden out.
Yeah, Hydroden's such an essential structure. Needed to make Hydralisks. Now, the Hydra Den is a pretty reasonable choice given how gateway heavy we've seen MaNa, but we also have the knowledge that MaNa is getting a lot of Colossi, is getting that range upgrade as well. And honestly, if MaNa does a push in just a minute, he could do quite a bit of damage. But I mean, really, MorroW needs to be careful with these roaches. If he does one misclick, he'll lose half of them.
Instantly. And like a little sneak attack at the back here with a couple of roaches. There are a couple of cannons in place, but he might be able to snipe some important structures, especially the the Colossus building, and he is moving in here. No, he's going to get Skull for probes, taking out quite a lot, actually. And no, that cannon tries to block off the roaches, unfortunately doesn't, and losing a ton of probes here.
Doing so much damage, and at the same time trying to do a push at the front, abusing the burrow, unburrow micro from those roaches. These roaches in the back just doing such an insane amount of damage. MaNa trying to stay focused, but not pulling his observers back in time. These roaches are doing a lot more damage than they should.
Yeah, this is actually pretty bad for MaNa. He lost so much. He can't even see them roaches. They are going to regenerate there and then pop back up and possibly kill more probes. He's waiting for the cannon. They're just going to pop up again and do a lot of damage. And he's just ignoring them there and moving down to his gold. And MorroW's looking in quite a comfortable position.
But here comes the big scary push from MaNa. This is a pretty much anti-roach style. Lots of really just plus armor damaging units, and the Colossus, so key. And here comes the big push. Those are some nice force fields, cutting everything in half. Really, MorroW should not be engaging at this angle. The Colossi are ripping through everything, and MorroW might actually end up losing this game.
Yeah, he might. I mean, he lost so many roaches there, and as you said, he's got to be careful when he engages. He lost more than half of his roaches, and now MaNa pushing down, going to take out this gold expansion. And MorroW is definitely in trouble. Force fields and Colossus making so much trouble for MorroW.
It looks like MaNa continuing to push on the resource counting station. We see that MorroW still is ahead and had 20 roaches in the production queue, and there they are. There's the target fire taking it out, but the 3 Immortals on the underneath side are just doing so much work. MorroW, who was in a clear lead after demolishing that cannon rush, is just getting overrun by MaNa's timing.
He just actually can't focus fire the Immortals. It's so important to do that, but because of the sentries, all these stalkers, he can't get close enough to do that. And the Immortals are just destroying these roaches. Hydras are out, but the Colossus are going to melt them. And this looks like it will be the end of MorroW.
MaNa's continuing to push, and there's the good game. Wow, MaNa pulled an amazing comeback. That was a phenomenal game by MaNa. The Dark Templar play, the fact that he was able to kill off the lair, very smart thinking, and then just played so straightforward for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he hardly made any mistakes, but I think the biggest problem is that MorroW was making mistakes left and right, even though he had a couple of nice moves.